Jeff Keighley's Game Awards have been going on for about 10 years now, and with it have come about 64 different Game of the Year nominations. And today, we're going to be ranking them all in a tier list and finding out which is actually the best one. All right, let's start this. The first game on the list, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Chat, I'm going to be real. This game is an F. Right off the gate, I don't even care. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is like clearly such a ripoff. I mean, with the previous Assassin's Creed before that, it's such a ripoff of The Witcher, but just like a worse version of The Witcher. Such a bad, just like horrible representation of the Assassin's Creed franchise. It's not even Assassin's Creed. It's just an icon simulator set in like this setting, and it just doesn't know what it wants to be. And I hated everything that it was for the franchise. I think it's a horrible representation of Assassin's Creed. It basically isn't an Assassin's Creed game, and I just hated it. It's too many icons. It wasted my time. It was boring. Okay? There it is. The next game on this list, Alan Wake 2. Personally, I haven't beaten it. We streamed a little bit on stream. I love the aesthetic of Alan Wake 2. It is very slow. I would say Alan Wake 2 is a B. Once I beat it, tentative to an A. But so far, from what I've played, it is a B. Okay, next game, Animal Crossing New Horizons. I own it. I played it. During the pandemic, it was a huge thing that everyone played. I think if you like Animal Crossing, it works. And if you don't, then it doesn't. So I think a lot of people would rate it like somewhere around here for what it is. But I think if it doesn't hit you for what it is, like realistically, like for me, I found it like a B. It's fun. I love the aesthetics. I love the music. I love the characters. But I don't know. It never really hooks me. World Map says F. World Map in the chat, by the way. Looking beautiful, these guys. See, Show Pony says A and mine says S. I am a hard to please man. I will say to get an S tier is very hard. There's not many in this list. Well, we'll see. I take that back. There's a decent amount. I mean, these are effectively the greatest games of the past 10 years, right? Baldur's Gate 3. I didn't play it. To be honest, here's the thing with Baldur's Gate 3. I've heard fantastic things from actual people. Real people. Real people. This I take with a lot of weight. Because personally for me, I feel like the gaming industry is super high on games that, like, when you play them, they're not typically that great. They're, like, very overhyped. Like, for instance, I think Sekiro is insanely overhyped. I think Sekiro is not a fun game, unless you're, like, the 1% of 1% who likes getting wrecked on the tutorial boss because of how hard it is. And I know there's a couple rats who are going to be like, skill issue. Yeah, but I ain't willing to learn that skill. I got things to do, brother. I got things to do. Now, everyone I've spoken to in real life that have played Baldur's Gate 3 are huge D&D people, to be fair, and they have loved this game. I haven't played it, and the reason I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, I do actually want to do a full day stream of Baldur's Gate 3, so look forward to that. I definitely want to stream that, Cyberpunk, Simpsons Hit and Run. This Christmas, we're going to be streaming Batman Arkham Origins. We're going to be doing that, too, because it's a Christmas game. And a couple indie things, but those games for sure are on my list. And the reason I didn't play is, quite frankly, just 100 hours. It's like... Dude, I ain't got time. I ain't got time for that. Bayonetta 2. D. It's not fun. I'm not looking to like learn a laundry list of things because it's like insanely difficult to understand all the combos and make that stuff work. I did not ever enjoy Bayonetta. Never found it fun. I can see how it can be fun if you're willing to dedicate a ton of time into it. I'm not. That's not what I like games for. That being said, chat. Bloodborne is an A. Bloodborne is an incredible game. Bloodborne is a freaking A. The fact that it like removes the shield mechanic and replaces it with a parry system with a gun, what an incredibly genius idea and twist on the Dark Souls mechanics to go from like the turtle system to like this gun shooting parry system. The aesthetics, the vibe, the music. I mean, what can't like it's a FromSoft game, so it has that vibe. I really do wish it would have a remake or a remaster. Quite frankly, they must be working on it. I think that would be huge for them. But Bloodborne, to me, is a freaking A. I loved every second I played with Bloodborne. But to be fair, when it comes to Souls games, just as I was criticizing Bayonetta 2, I don't have time to dedicate to, or Sekiro, I don't have time to dedicate like a bunch of, knowledge towards one game for that long and just like really try to get super good at it. So usually with Souls games, I get about to halfway to 3/4 in where it really starts kicking my butt, and I just feel satisfied. But I never feel mad. That's the difference with FromSoft's games. Most of them. I never feel mad. I feel super, super satisfied. Felt the same way with Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Bloodborne, felt the same way about Elden Ring. Never beat them, but always feel satisfied. They're incredible games. Celeste. It's like Super Meat Boy. It's fine. It's not my thing. It's fine. Control. Chat, I'm going to ruffle some feathers. I'm going to ruffle some freaking feathers. I love everything about Control except the gameplay. Except the enemies, I guess. The gameplay is fun. The floating around, the telekinesis, all that stuff's good. The shooting. I think fighting people in Control sucks. The people you fight sucks so bad. For me, it's a C. The aesthetics, the story, the main character, the vibe, the music, everything. Your moveset, incredible. It's not fun to fight people. I found myself incredibly bored as I was playing Control. Now, for this next game. Next game. Oh boy. This is what I'm talking about. Dear God, give it to me, baby. Hit me, baby, one more time. Daddy needs it. Daddy needs it. Daddy needs it. Give it to me. Daddy needs it. Give it to Daddy. It's an A. Doom Eternal is an incredible game. It's so close to an S. I think they got a little too cocky with the movement mechanics of Doom Eternal. They got a little too cocky with the movement mechanics, and they fumbled the biggest bag with the Mick Gordon situation for Doom Eternal. So it didn't have his full amount of tracks. They tried to do it themselves after some fight with Mick Gordon. I mean, the song we just played literally came from Doom 2016, which to me is an S. That's spoilers for Doom 2016. Doom 2016 is a freaking S. The music's an S. The gameplay's an S. The fact that they brought back effectively a Doom game in a sprint mechanic world of the modern gaming industry, and they brought that back, and it was popular, and it slapped. And the combat mechanics where you just like break people in half. I mean, heck, let's just put that right there because we already know. Doom 2016 is an S. It is one of the greatest games of the past 10 years without a doubt. And it like literally created new game mechanics that people have been trying to copy, whether in smaller games, bigger games, it doesn't matter. Doom was amazing. And I still, to this day, in my lifts, I still listen to Mick Gordon's tracks. Still to this day. That's how good it is. Dark Souls 3. C. Did not care about it. Didn't interest me. I have zero interest in Dark Souls 3. It was just like not, I just didn't care. It wasn't interesting to me. It was like more Dark Souls. It fixed Dark Souls 2 stuff. I didn't care. I didn't care, if I'm being honest. Deathloop is a cool concept, but the gameplay is a C. Okay? Chat, I'm getting cutthroat. I want to be realistic as possible. Effectively, if I put something as an S or A, I want you to know you will have a good time. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's not going to be a lot of friction. These games start to add friction in ways that make it annoying to play, unless you're willing to put in all the time to go through that friction. Okay? Deathloop, there's enough friction there and enough nonsense that makes it not as fun. And I think the first-person controls on a controller are exactly what we were talking about earlier, where some first-person shooter games feel jerky. And what they did with Deathloop, the controls feel jerky. In fact, I'd say most Bethesda FPS games feel jerky, which is why I think Fallout got so popular with the VAT system. And I think why Skyrim was unaffected, because effectively it was mostly, you were mostly doing the sword combat, right? the melee combat. Of course, you have your magic and stuff, but it didn't need to be as precise because the hitbox was so big. You had arrows, yeah, sure, but it's just like, again, most people use magic or melee. Death Stranding. I just recently started playing this, and look, I haven't played that much of it, but from what I have played, dude, Death Stranding is freaking awesome. Chat, am I wrong on this? Like, to me, Death Stranding is a freaking A. There's something to be said in video games, which I don't think is a thing that we really have. If you look at movies, okay, the thing with movies is you can really see a director's influence on the games, or on the movies. When you watch a Quentin Tarantino flick, Chris Nolan flick, even a Steven Spielberg flick, although recently I feel like they're not as strong, you know, you can see a director's influence. Denis Villeneuve, Matt Reeves in the Batman, you can see it's their vision. With Death Stranding, it's like one of the rare instances where you see that one person's vision, and it is a weird vision. Death Stranding is weird, but I love it. There's a thing that happens in Death Stranding where part of the thing is you're like carrying things on your back and you have to like bring them from place to place. And sometimes you're just traversing the open area, which looks beautiful. But then they play music in such a way that it feels like a movie. It shouldn't be fun, and yet it is. Death Stranding is super underrated. I feel like people have turned on this game a little bit, but I was really heavily impressed with how good Death Stranding is and just the weird nonsense world that Kojima and his team built. Absolutely impressed by this. Now, Dragon Age Inquisition. Dragon Age has been getting a lot of hate for the new one, Veilguard, because of some weird stuff that they added in and stuff like that, getting all crazy. Look, I find that depressing because for me, Inquisition is so close to an S. Inquisition, I feel like not enough people even talked about it. In fact, I think it did win Game of the Year, right? It did. 2014's first Game Awards Game of the Year winner went to Dragon Age Inquisition. I think Inquisition is literally it's an amazing game. The dragon fights are amazing. The story's amazing. I wanted to go into Veilguard, but everything about Veilguard just looked garbage. Just looked garbage and weird and didn't really continue the stuff that I cared about. I was really sad by that because I really, really like Dragon Age Inquisition. And for context, I didn't like Dragon Age 1 and I didn't like Dragon Age 2. Didn't click with me. Inquisition was incredible, and I think it still holds up today. The only thing that's wrong with Inquisition is some of the graphics are a little janky. There's a bit of jank in Inquisition. Elden Ring's an S. I mean, everybody's already talked about Elden Ring. Elden Ring literally improved in every way on the Souls franchise that has already been like beloved, and still no one can really replicate it. I mean, who's really replicated the Souls games to the point of a From Software level? Like Liza P, I think, came the closest, arguably. I've never played it, but I've seen lots of people love it. Elden Ring is incredible, man. Again, it's one of those things. I've never beat it, but I feel satisfied because every part of Elden Ring seems fun. There's so much to it. It feels like Elden Ring feels like the old Super Nintendo games that you'd play where you just had no idea what was coming next. You know, like when you play Link to the Past, there's just so much stuff happening in that world. It's not that big of a world, but there's so much stuff, so much wonder, new stuff, and it's just, again, you're transported to this unique world, and you get that in like Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Doom, Death Stranding, and a little bit of it in Inquisition. I'd say Control does this really well. So there's something special about a video game putting you in the experience that just, when you can marry that with good gameplay, brother, you got something special there. Fallout 4 to me is a D. I thought Fallout 4 sucked. It didn't interest me. It just was bored. It didn't innovate in any way that I thought, besides like base building mechanic, which felt super gimmicky. I had no interest in it. To me, Fallout 4 was like, I don't know. I didn't like it. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I played a bit of this, and for me personally, I was never into Final Fantasy VII growing up. I never really played it that much. So I'd probably put it a C to maybe a B. I'm going to go with C. Like, again, if you like turn-based RPGs, it's one of those. And it's a good-looking one of those. I've been told to continue, and it's worth it, but from what I played so far, it didn't capture my attention in a way that these guys did immediately. I'd much rather play these guys than this. So for me, like, it's between a B and a C. So for me, Final Fantasy 15 remake, 15 Final Fantasy 7 remake fits in a C for me. If I'm gonna be, again, I'm being brutally honest. I'm just looking for like the most fun. Now, chat. Ghost of Tsushima is a freaking S. Ghost of Tsushima is my favorite one. Probably like this. I'll order these. Ghost of Tsushima, man. Well, I've already had so many discussions on this stream many times over the year. Ghost of Tsushima, it marries gameplay with the vibe, the experience, the world, the great acting, the final boss. It's like a mega triple S. Yeah, Mr. Danny Lemon says Ghost is a super S. Like, dude, Ghost of Tsushima is like literally what it's like. When you're looking for like a great video game, it has amazing narrative. It has a world that just transports you and you feel like you're part of this new world. You just want to walk around in it. It's incredible. The gameplay is really fun. It's what Assassin's Creed should have innovated to, not what Odyssey did. Like, it just makes me feel 100% justified for putting Odyssey in F. Ghost of Tsushima, I feel like is talked about enough, chat. I mean, look, Ghost Pepper saying is also top tier in the chat, but to me personally, chat, I feel like Ghost of Tsushima is not as appreciated as it should be, and I really, really hope Ghost of Yotei freaking nails it out the park. I really, really do. Now, speaking of nailing it out the park, personally for me, God of War, the new one in 2018, it was 2018, right? Let me just fact check that. God of War, yeah. Which ended up winning Game of the Year. God of War 2018 is incredible. Bar none. What it did on the PlayStation 4 as far as scale, graphics, storytelling, but more importantly, taking Kratos, someone who everyone was kind of over. Okay, the whole yelling at gods and killing them thing was kind of, we were over it. I feel like after the PS3 version, people were like, okay, God of War 3, I got it. I don't need the PSP versions. I don't know. I don't need it. The fact that they translated it and gave him everything he did, and they did an amazing game. And it's a one take. Like, the camera stays on Kratos the entire time and there's no cuts. It just always stays and never cuts. It just follows along. The fact that they did that, innovated on all that, and the gameplay is fun with the hammer that comes back. And of course, you get other things. I won't spoil if you haven't played it. An amazing, amazing game. That being said, God of War Ragnarok, okay, is a C for me. I don't know what it is for you guys in the chat. Let me know. But like, God of War Ragnarok to me was incredibly boring. They threw too many things in there, and they made the puzzles like borderline simplistic, and then had the audacity to have whoever was with you while you're doing the puzzles, the characters, be like, why don't you try pushing it to the left? And I was like, bro, like, come on, like, give me 2 seconds. I don't need help yet. Overly simplistic. I'd like to go back and beat it, and quite frankly, the first hour of the game did make me cry. Incredible. Also, if I'm being real, Atreus is lame. Chat, do we like Atreus? Is Atreus cool? Because I think Atreus is lame. Like, they got to do something, like cut his arm off or something. There's something special, but you know when future Gohan and Dragon Ball came and he had like no arm? You're like, whoa. They got to do that. They got to straight up do that. You know in like Reboot, the old TV show, where Bob comes back and he's got these new powers, or Enzo comes back and he's got this like eye? You guys didn't think you were going to get a Reboot mention, did you, in this stream? Well, guess what? You are. So Enzo comes back and he's got like his eye thing and he's like super jacked. They literally need to do that with Atreus. He is so lame. B for boy. I can't do it. It's a C for me. God of War Ragnarok was mid. It was mid for me. Graphics don't matter. It's about the experience. These games handle the experience 1,000 times better. These ones are just missing it just a bit. This lost its shot. Hades, Incredible. Ah, man, I don't know. Hades pretty good. Hades is an A. Hades is an A. I take that back. Hades is an A. Hades is an A. The underlying gameplay of Hades is incredible. I just think, again, it gets a little too hard. And if you're not willing to put in the effort to do that stuff, like if you're only playing 1 or 2 games a year, Hades is an incredible game to have in your back pocket. It works well portably. It works well on consoles. It is fantastic. You guys can't tell I'm how can you guys tell I'm dehydrated? How do you tell? Because I am dehydrated. I'm out of water. I need to go get water. Yeah, there's something about Hades where it just like it holds up everywhere. So if you're playing 1 to 2 games, like I think, because you had 14 intros. Oh, you mean Canada Dry, right? Because if you ain't dry, you ain't high. Off life. Yeah, Hades just holds up of all time, but I think if you play more than like 5 games a year, it's kind of hard to justify. Like, it's a lot of time you got to put in to get good at that. Although it is fun all the time. This next game, Hearthstone. Hearthstone, when it first came out, was an A. Today, Hearthstone, to me, it's an F. They ruined the game. The UI of Hearthstone is garbage. There's too many cards. It's impossible to learn all the billion heroes. I fundamentally disagree with everyone who says adding more heroes is more interesting than new. Like, for instance, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch. I just don't think adding more heroes is a good idea. Super Smash Brothers, having a roster of 100 heroes or whatever, 50 to 60, whatever. To me, it's good marketing. It sounds good. Like, it's shareable on Twitter. It's good. It's a higher number, bigger number, better game. As far as the effect on humans, it's too much stuff to learn. When you have too much stuff to learn, you don't want to learn it. And realistically, there's too much content in the world today to justify learning that much stuff for the average person, unless they're just going to focus on that one thing. So if you add more heroes, you are effectively rewarding the 1%, which of course would be the one who are giving you the most money, but you are denying the majority. It's effectively what you're doing. And so I just don't think adding more heroes and like these things, it's wrong. I just don't think, I think you go with things like new maps or new boards, other things like that. I just don't think that works that way. Horizon Forbidden West, I have never played actually. I have never played Horizon Forbidden West. I've wanted to, but I haven't played, unfortunately. Now, Horizon Zero Dawn, to me, is a B. Horizon Zero Dawn is so close to an A. And the reason it doesn't get an A is because Aloy is not a fun character, and B, the gameplay is not as tight of a gameplay loop as something like, let's say, Doom. If it had a stronger character that I cared about, stronger cast of characters, because I couldn't even tell you any of the other characters' names beside Aloy. If it had a stronger cast of characters, it would go A. If it had the same cast of characters but a better gameplay loop, like how tight Doom's is, or Elden Ring's, or Ghost of Tsushima's, it would go A. If it had both, it would go S. Unfortunately, it doesn't do either. Inside is an incredible experience. This one's different. The thing with Inside is it's not really a game. It's more of an experience. And what I mean by that is once you do it the one time, I just don't think you're ever coming back. Ever. It's meant to be played through in a sitting, and I don't think I would do it beyond one sitting. It's meant to be played through in one sitting, experience it, see the wackiness of Inside, and then go away. And in that, I think it's a solid experience. I don't think it blows everyone's mind. It's a derivative of Limbo, which, you know, these are the guys who created Limbo. Limbo was pretty crazy for the time because no one had experienced a type of game like that. Inside just feels like a derivative. It's better than Limbo, in my opinion. I really liked Inside. You guys didn't like Inside? And mine, you didn't like Inside? I loved Inside. I thought it was a great experience. I just think it's like nothing special. It wasn't an A or an S. Oh, interesting. Interesting. How come you didn't like it? I'm interested. That's the thing about video games. I feel like a lot of people get into these discussions like which better, which worse. But I like to learn. I feel like there's just so many different types of players, and I really like to learn who likes what and why. Because clearly you can see from my tier list, I'm more interested in the experience and gameplay. That's very clear. Like most of these at the top, minus maybe Death Stranding, but these are like high-tier gameplay. The rest is kind of like a mix. Was $20 worst $20 of your life? Ghost Pepper liked it. But why, though? Anman, why? I want to know. It Takes Two, I think, is a fabulous idea. I love the idea of two-player, third-person, accessible type of setting that anyone can play. Like, you play with your wife, you can play with a friend. The problem is, I think the gameplay is kind of janky. It's not really that great. So for me, I think It Takes Two is the best that this developer has done. Actually, I haven't played Brothers, but people would probably argue Brothers is better. But I think what they have here, It Takes Two, has the ability to be an A or an S with a sequel, if done right, and getting rid of some of the jank. My problem with It Takes Two is the pitch that it's telling you is like, play this with someone who's not into video games. This is more accessible. Like the setting, Like, you're probably going to have a difficult time getting your wife to play something like Halo or Doom or Gears. It's not as accessible. But maybe Animal Crossing, you might have a better chance traditionally. It Takes Two is pitching that idea of like, hey, this is more, it's not a bunch of guns, shooty, kill stuff, blood everywhere. The problem is that type of player, from my experience, it makes it so one person does all the work and the other person has to figure out how to use the camera. It's not as fun. It's like not a two-party fun thing. It's not a two-person fun experience unless you're both the same skill level. And even then, I don't know. First time chat, unknown data. Would you rather have a son that calls his girlfriend mommy or a daughter that calls her boyfriend daddy? Son is saying it in a baby voice, but daughter is saying it in a seductive voice. I cannot believe that question was asked. I forward that question to the chat. I have no interest. That is a wild thing to ask, sir. Next game, Super Mario Wonder. Fourth man of the day. Get him out of here. I'm just kidding. Unknown data, but that's wild. That is wild. Super Mario Wonder. I love the aesthetic of Super Mario Wonder. I bought it the same day I bought Spider-Man 2, which is on this list. We're going to touch on in a bit. I have serious thoughts on. The animation is incredible in Super Mario Wonder. The aesthetics is incredible in Super Mario Wonder. The gameplay, mid. Honestly, I'll put it to... No, I'm putting it C. Like, it's just not fun. It's boring. It's boring. But it has so much aesthetics. The animation, really, of Mario is, like, incredible. You know what? I'm going to put a B. I kind of actually want to play it right now, just thinking about it. I literally, the more I'm talking about it, makes me want to play it. And the more I talk about It Takes Two in any of these games, I don't want to play it. In fact, I think it's just chilling in my Switch right now. It goes B. Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain. I played the first cutscene. I won't say level because it was effectively a cutscene, and didn't have time to play after that because, quite frankly, I was running into a bunch of issues in my life with university and stuff. So I had a bunch of issues there trying to find a job and living alone. That was a tough time. So I didn't get to play that, but I do want to come back to it. Some say I should play every single Metal Gear game on my YouTube channel, and some say I should play every single Kojima game. Which one should it be? I don't know. Guess we'll find out in the future. I never played this Metroid. I never played Monster Hunter. I played it for like 2 seconds, but it's not fair to judge. It's not fair to judge. Overwatch. When Overwatch first came out, chat, it's an S. When Overwatch first released, it was so far an S. It's not even funny. This is where I'd rank it too. It would go behind Doom. Overwatch was such an S. Everything about Overwatch. You have to understand, Blizzard came from a place where they were MMO guys. They were RPG guys. They were not first-person shooter guys. Twitch first-person shooter guys? No. Not Blizz. No. And then they come out with Overwatch and basically push forward the hero shooter genre that everyone has started copying ever since Overwatch released. Even Blizzard tried to copy themselves with Overwatch 2. And when they did, they deleted Overwatch. And now Overwatch, which is effectively Overwatch 2, So, you know what? I'm going to leave it here because the original Overwatch is an S. But if this counted as Overwatch in general, it's a D. I hate what Overwatch is now. Although they did put a classic mode, I think. So I want to try that out. It is out now, right? Wizard says they have OG Overwatch right now. Well, holy smokes. We got to try it out, chat. Dude, 2024 is insane. Like, literally. Halo added a classic mode, which I played a little bit, by the way, chat. They just added a new BR mode into it, too, which we could play on stream as well. Overwatch added a classic mode. There's a billion games. Incredible time. Incredible time. Persona, I didn't play. Those games are just very long. It's hard for me to justify. It's just so long. Psychonauts 2, I played a bit, and it was okay. Played it about 3 hours, didn't hook me, didn't find it interesting. It was okay. PUBG. When it came out, PUBG was an A. Wasn't an S because if you guys remember, PUBG was the jankiest piece of garbage that ever released. This was the era when The thing that's really interesting about PUBG, here's the thing, okay? The thing that's interesting about PUBG is when PUBG released, it was 2017. When PUBG released, the gaming industry was effectively creatively bankrupt. Nobody was making anything good, and quite frankly, everyone that was trying to make something was releasing it buggy. Buggy, broken, garbage, pieces of junk in Gen 8 that had huge loading times that were like impossible to get through. In fact, I'm curious to see what else was nominated in that year. I don't think it won. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This, good, yeah, but janky. Zero Dawn, Persona 5, Mario Odyssey. Yeah, so okay. The Switch released that year, so that's what that was. Everything was janky. And so PUBG just gave you the best jank. Because PUBG was effectively just, the continuation of the Arma 3 BR mod. And it was janky, and everybody was loving the BR mods. Because you had the Arma 3 BR mod, you had H1Z1, which was incredibly janky. You had a bunch of stuff, you had the culling, and then you had PUBG Battlegrounds, which broke into the mainstream. Everybody absolutely loved it. It was just a brand new thing that everybody was into, and PUBG was huge for the industry. But let's be real. It was like a broken mess. And if we're including console releases too, a garbage broken mess. I would have never played that on Xbox, ever. I mean, just ever. It was a PC game only, so that you're going to get the best experience there. Everything else was going to be bad. Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart. I loved every second of it. I beat it. I enjoyed it. But the gameplay of Ratchet & Clank and the story was just... It was, simplistic combat. Level up your guns. It was Ratchet. I just think they could have done way more. Great game, really cutting edge tech with the loading stuff. But not an A for me. Like, once you beat it, I've never even thought about it ever again. It's just a shame because I feel like they have everything they need. They're just missing the gameplay. The gameplay is good, but it's not great to get it to an A or an S. No way. No way. It's not even a question, right, chat? Ghost Pepper, S. Wizard, Absolute Cinema. Dubs, S. Celine, S. Wizard, S. No questions asked. What an experience, right, chat? Where were you when you played Red Dead the first time? Chat, is Arthur Morgan not one of the greatest video game characters of all time? Tahiti, chat. Tahiti. My God. What an experience. What a gift. We live in a world where video game companies constantly, once they hit a certain threshold and they get super successful, they gouge the user like crazy with 1 billion microtransactions and a bunch of junk. We saw it with Halo, Gears, so many. But Rockstar, they didn't have to take 7 years to make a sequel to Red Dead Redemption. They didn't have to. And they made one of the greatest video game characters of all time. An amazing cast, amazing world, amazing gameplay. That snow level was long though. That was a long level. A lot of us would say too long. A lot longer than we thought it would be. But once you beat the game, didn't you want it to just go on just a little bit longer? And that's really the magic of Red Dead. It's one of those games that you didn't want it to end. But at some point you had to say goodbye. Those games don't come around much. Red Dead to me is so close to a perfect game. It might even just be a perfect game. I think Ocarina of Time is the only game I can think of that goes higher than it. To me, Red Dead 2 is like one of the greatest games of all time. God. They had the balls to call a prequel Red Dead 2. God! I just want to play it right now. I'll be honest. It just beats out Ghost of Tsushima for me. And that's just because I'm a countryman. You got conservative goose out here. Got me my cowboy hat. Got me my horse. Yes, sir. Grow my beard. What an amazing experience. I'm just thinking about Red Dead 2, baby. It got me hyped. Oh, I'm hyped. I'm freaking hyped, chat. Holy smokes. Oh. Red Dead 2, man. What an experience. Red Dead 2. But this next game. Resident Evil 2 Remake. We had a discussion earlier about do remakes make sense in Game of the Year nominations, and I very much agree that they do. They very much do. They are a new game. They are retrofitting something that shouldn't, that doesn't hold up necessarily. And quite frankly, if you remake a game with new graphics and it beats the new games that come out today, I think that paints a picture that needs to be said and shouted from the rooftops. You know what I'm saying? If a remake of a 20-year-old game is beating new games, then I think that says everything we need to say about the gaming industry. And to me, when did this come out? RE2 Remake. 2019. Yeah, for me, yeah, that's the best game in 2019. It's not even a question. It's not even a question. Resident Evil 2 Remake, I never played the original. I could not believe how freaking good that game was. I could not believe. Oh, it's somewhere here, chat. I'm going to put here right underneath Elden Ring. Resident Evil 2 Remake holds up in such a disgusting way. I could not believe how good it was, how awesome every part of it. I mean, I didn't even know the main character was Leon Kennedy. I didn't know that. I thought his first appearance was Resident Evil 4. That was my first Resident Evil game. Could not believe how well it held up. The puzzles, the graphics, the sound, the shooting. I mean, granted, a lot of that stuff's been revamped heavily for the remake, which is why I think it deserves a nomination. But to me, that was the best game. An S-tier game. Resident Evil 4 Remake I haven't played, but I've heard it pretty much does the same thing. So the fact that I haven't played it, I can't review it 100%. But I think Resident Evil 4 is one of the greatest games of all time, so I'll put it here. For me, personally. Now, Village. The first-person Resident Evils, I don't find as fun. I do not think they're as fun. I much prefer the third-person Resident Evils. It's not even a question. I think the first-person Resident Evils are an interesting side that they went. Clearly, after Resident Evil 6 was like, they ruined the franchise for a bit. I never got into it. So I played a little bit of 7, thought it was fine, and didn't go into 8. So 8, I didn't even play. Sekiro. When did Sekiro come out? 2019. Same year as Resident Evil 2. We got an S. No, sorry, we have a C. A C. Chat, I'm gonna be honest. I hated playing Sekiro. I hated it. I didn't find it fun. I didn't find it interesting in the same way Dark Souls or Elden Ring or Bloodborne were. I found it insanely cumbersome, confusing, and just a pain. And quite frankly, I know the skill issue comments are going to come. I welcome them. I get it. I get it. I get it. I'm trying to think where this lands, man. This is tricky. I keep drinking. I just never... I get it. I don't think it's a C, chat. I'd much rather play Dark Souls 3. I'd much rather play Celeste. I'd much rather play Control. I'd much rather play Deathloop. The question to me is D or F. Drink water. Get him out of here. 7th ban of the day. The question is, what would I rather play? Odyssey or New Hearthstone? I would much rather play Sekiro. What would I rather play? Bayonetta or Fallout 4? I'd much rather play those. So to me, it's a D. Sekiro is a D. I welcome the skill issue comments. I do not care. I feel like too many people in the gaming industry are sheep. They just say whatever is positive. Your boy don't care. The S and A, you're gonna have a fantastic experience. If I recommended Sekiro like most people do and say it's an S, 1% of you are gonna have fun. 1% of you are gonna have fun. The rest of you are going to hate your lives. It's not a fun game. I like that they took the choice, to be fair. I like that they took the choice with Sekiro. I think they took a really cool choice, and I welcome that. It's not a fun game. Shadow of Mordor. If you remember, this came out 2014, right? If my memory serves me right. 2014. Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor. Ding, 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 ding. Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, to me, is a B. Incredible game. I think it's a B. I think there's just a little bit of jank in the way that the... Like, what's the story, Anmine? Do you remember the story? He's with Celebrimbor. The Nemesis system brings it close to an A, if not an A. But the fact that they patented the Nemesis system makes me want to put it even lower. They patented it, now no game could ever use it. Disgusting. And Shadow of War is worse. Probably put Shadow of War at C. There's no way I play Shadow of Mordor more than these games. No way. No way. But it is fun. I'm sad they're not making another. I think it's fair. Like, I'm not a Lord of the Rings person. I don't like fantasy that much. It takes a lot for me to get into fantasy. That's why like things like Inquisition being up here is a huge shock. I'm not a fan of fantasy games. Like, I was never into Lord of the Rings growing up. Just didn't click with me. I was never into Harry Potter. But I love sci-fi. I love time travel. I love that stuff. So if anything of that genre can get me in there, like Skyrim, like Elden Ring, Inquisition, like that's a big feat. That's a big feat. I'm a big believer in good is good. It doesn't matter what you like. If something's good, it will turn you into liking it. And, Shadow of Mordor was like, I wasn't a huge Lord of the Rings fan, but it was fun. I just didn't think it was God tier. Now, this next game, chat. This next game. I swear to God, you better pump those frickin' numbers up, chat. One of the greatest Spider-Man stories of all media. Minus comic books, I haven't read those. This game was incredible. The gameplay, slightly below great. The characters, the graphics, the gameplay of swinging around, the story. Man, the scene with Aunt May? Come on! Chat. You're all wrong. You're all wrong. It's an S. Spider-Man 2018 is an S-tier game. More games should be seen for their incredible storytelling. That was a story that was well told in a game. The connection to Doc Ock, the Mary Jane stuff, the Aunt May stuff, the Miles stuff, the Mr. Negative stuff, all coming together. This is video games, man. There wasn't a second you didn't feel like Spider-Man in this game. And that's what freaking video games are about. Amazing music, amazing graphics, amazing story, amazing feeling, amazing experience. That's video games, brother. That is video games. Incredible. S. S. Absolutely incredible. Spider-Man 2, F. Next game. Stray. We're talking Stray. Okay? Stray. Moving on, Stray. Spider-Man 2. Let's be real. Spider-Man 2. The gameplay is better than Spider-Man 1. It's not even a contest. The gameplay is better. The traversal. The combat, the same. The stealth, infinitely worse. Basically non-existent. Okay? Basically non-existent. The graphics, incredible. Cast of characters. Kraven. Fantastic. Venom. Fantastic. Miles at his prime. Fantastic. Okay? So I want you to understand something. Spider-Man 2 was supposed to be an S. It had the Venom storyline. Okay? It's supposed to be here. Even listen to this music. They take cues from the original Toby music. Hear the incredible music. Incredible music. But they get a point deducted because Miles' suit was garbage. His new suit. It disgusts me. In fact. If you haven't beaten the game and you're interested into it, then spoilers. Chat, what in God's name am I looking at here? What in God's name am I looking at here? That is not a Spider-Man suit. That's a crime. That is a crime against humanity. Okay? Now this, that's a suit. Quite frankly, that is a suit. That's disgusting what this is. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. That's just two men hanging out, but one of them is wearing a disgusting suit. Put the Nike shoes in. That's the best suit. It's not even a question. This is the greatest Spider-Man suit ever made. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. It's not a question. It's not up for debate. Okay? So they immediately lose a point. They immediately lose a point for that suit. This is disgusting. They lose another point for their Venom stuff. They rush through. And the whole premise of how they handled the symbiote stuff and just basically botched Kraven's story. Spider-Man 2 is a B. It should be an S. By all accounts and purposes, it should be an S. It's so close. I've never played Stray. So I'm leaving Spider-Man 2 there. It depresses me. I think that's why a lot of gamers are depressed, because Spider-Man 2 has everything it needs to be here. And they botched it. They botched it. And it cost $300 million. Insane. Absolutely insane. I never played Stray. The idea did not appeal to me. Super Mario Maker, never played. Idea did not appeal to me. Stray was an A? Really? Isn't it just a cat running around? Look at what I have in S and A. Celine, are you sure I would find it A? Because if you still think I would find it A, then I will play it. Based off what my S and A's are. I don't know. Just look like... You really think? Interesting. That's high praise. If you think that my S and A and Stray would belong with the rest of those guys, it's better than Spider-Man 2. It's just a cat running around. Has Death Stranding an A. Master Jedi Bob. Shout out. That's what I'm worried about. I feel like Stray, if I'm being honest, playing Stray, I worry it would be a C for me. I think it would just be fine. But I'm willing to try it. We'll bring Sub Sunday back and we can play it. Super Mario Odyssey, to me, it's a B. I don't think Super Mario Odyssey is as fun as the previous ones. In fact, I think it's like they just focused on weird stuff. To be honest, a lot of the problems I had with Super Mario Odyssey was that the Switch was still so behind the other consoles. I love the idea of the Switch, and I like the idea that Nintendo doesn't focus hard on graphics and stuff like that, but it just seemed like this game was so special that more attention to, like, having Super Mario Odyssey at the level of depth of an Astrobot, which seems to be missing now, which I'll have to add back, to me feels like a better move. But obviously they can't do that. Like, I feel like it would have helped the experience a little bit more. I didn't like the moons as much. I didn't like the bunny people, the wedding bunny people. I like more of a traditional Bowser story. I don't know. Oh, God. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's too many heroes, man. It's too many. It's not fun. It's not fun. And the online's always the jankiest thing ever. It's not fun. I don't find it fun. I wouldn't want to play it portably. I don't like playing it on my TV. The online's not fun, so I don't have people to play it with. It's too many heroes. I don't know. What's the Breath of the Wild theme? Oh, I probably can't play it because Nintendo's just a butt like that. Breath of the Wild to me is it was one of those games where I played it first and it didn't click, but then I went back to it on the Wii U. I bought it on Wii U, okay? Before the Switch was a thing. I bought it on the Wii U, okay? So I bought it on the Wii U, played it, didn't click, went back to it, I think, a month later, and it really, really, really clicked. To me, it's an A, and we'll organize all of this before the end of the tier list. For me, it's an A. Breath of the Wild is a really good game. I think there's a lot to be said for the criticism about the stuff breaking really fast. I think that is pretty lame. But overall, the game was incredible. I loved everything about it, and I love that they built the game that you could just speedrun the game if you knew what to do and you were good enough. That to me, it's like it's a game. It's a game. It's not trying to be this artificial experience. It's like, hey, this is basically a modern Link to the Past. And I think that's really, 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 really cool. Breath of the Wild to me is a fantastic game. But it did not play super well on Wii U. Especially with that stupid tablet. And because, like, if you remember, the Wii U controller was a tablet. Just not fun. And the Switch version never went on sale, so I never got it there. But quite frankly, it didn't look like it ran super well on the Switch either. So for me, it's an A. For me, it's an A. And mine, there's no way. There's no way. I did not like Tears of the Kingdom. I didn't like it. No, and mine. We're individual people with different feelings, and mine. I want to go back to play Tears of the Kingdom because there's this thing that happens where the gaming industry votes on something being it's seen as like God, and if you don't like it, then you're out of the club. And with those games, when they don't click, I do like to come back to them in the same way I did with Breath of the Wild, and quite frankly, I did it with Oblivion. Oblivion and Fallout 3, I did it with as well. They didn't click, and I went back a month later, and eventually it just really got its hooks in me. Sometimes you're not in the right place, and for me, my problem with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is I don't like the fuse mechanic. I really, really don't like the fuse mechanic. The building things, I find it like annoying. And the Ascension stuff is really cool, but I always forget that is the thing to have. The amount of times I just accidentally got myself into a dungeon where you can't escape without Ascension, and I just like forgot Ascension was a thing, and I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Granted, that's on me. I'm not saying that's the game's fault, but Tears of the Kingdom didn't hit with me. But Tears of the Kingdom is the same type of game, so it's probably right at the tippy top of B for me. For me. It did not click. I like Hit and Run more, but Road Rage was a close second. Thank you, Mr. Dan Lemon. Apologies for everyone who had to wait 10 years for me to cue that up. Guys, I'm sick and tired of everyone saying Titanfall 2 is the greatest game in the world, because quite frankly, it is! Titanfall 2 is literally an incredible game. Titanfall 2 launched an S. Because the multiplayer is dead, I just don't think it's an S anymore. Titanfall 2 fits... Yeah, Titanfall 2 is top of A. But at launch, Titanfall 2 is an S. The fact that Titanfall 2 came out in a world where EA decides to market Battlefield... What was it? Battlefield 1? I forget which one it was. Battlefield 1? Over Titanfall 2? Like, Titanfall 2, I couldn't believe how well it played. If I felt like I was playing Modern Warfare 2 in the modern era. I never forget, and this was back when like all the game stores around me allowed me to do rentals. And like, I don't know if you guys ever did this, but I would go to the game stores like weekly and just go rent new games so I could always play the new stuff and like learn the new stuff. I really fundamentally believe renting should be baked into an Xbox and PlayStation 5. Like, it just should. Let me rent the game and try it. Because there's a lot of benefit to just letting me jump into a game, taste it, and then, you know, hey, if it worked, it worked. And if it did work, then, you know, I could just play it again. And I rented Titanfall like I think 5 times before I was like, dude, I just gotta buy it. I gotta buy it. I love the campaign, but the multiplayer was so addictive, and I really love the original Titanfall's multiplayer. When you got really good at bunny hopping in Titanfall, brother, it was so much fun. So much fun. Titanfall 2 is an A for me, 100%. But again, at launch, if I want to live in a world where EA focused on Titanfall instead of Battlefield, or at least spaced them out. Because if you don't know, they released them at the same time, and they just focused more on the Battlefield marketing and just completely overshadowed Titanfall, and they just got no attention. It was a new franchise, so Last of Us 2. Last of Us 2 is a game. The game is fun. Really fun. I actually feel very immersed. It's very fun. They tried some new narrative things that are like... Look, I'm going to be honest. The fact that like halfway through the game, spoilers, they swap you to the person that you hate was such a bold thing that's worth rewarding, in my opinion. That was such a unique thing to try. And I remember wanting to quit the game when that happened. I said, I don't want to play this person because of what she did. And if you played the game, then you know what she did. And if you don't, then you're going to find out in season 2 of The Last of Us TV show. But yeah, I remember just being like, I don't want to play this person. Also, the way they made the character look was like really weird in a world that, like, you know, there's not that much sustenance in The Last of Us. Everyone's like, you know, like, except for Abby, who's like yoked out of her mind. Was she on tea? She juiced up? She juiced up turkey? For that, it's close. But yeah, I would never want to play it again. The remasters, I'm like, bro, I'm good. Uncharted 4 is clearly an A. It's an A by far. Absolutely incredible. The graphics on the PlayStation 4 at that time. Like, what year did Uncharted 4 come out? What year was it? 2016. Bro. It shouldn't have looked like this is the pursuit of graphics. Why do we need to go further than that? Uncharted 4 killed it. Don't improve. Don't improve. Uncharted 4 was good enough. Uncharted 2 is S. Wizard says Uncharted 2 S. I 1,000% agree with you. Down to not only the campaign being incredible, but the multiplayer was actually fantastic. Okay, Witcher 3, this is one of those games. I told you, I played it, it didn't click, and then I played it on stream with you guys a month ago, and my mind was literally blown. It was incredible. It was incredible. I don't know if it's snowing, actually. I don't think so. Not that I see. Although we're supposed to get our first snowfall this week in Canada, at least in my area. So I'm not going to rate Witcher because technically I haven't played enough to even put it. So I'm actually going to put here. Even though I know we played it on stream for a bit, but I think that's one of those games. I said Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate, Witcher, Arkham Origins, Simpsons Hit and Run. These 5 need to be streamed separate, like their own days. Because Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was just, bro. Playing that with you guys, I couldn't believe. I was so glad you guys voted that on Sub Sunday in the Discord. Which, by the way, a reminder, in the Discord, you can get free access through the Twitch subscription, or there's 10 slots available each and every week in the pinned comment on the stream chat. But, dude, I just, you can see my reaction in the old VODs. They might be deleted. Okay, well, I'll pop them. They're going to be added in 2025. They're going to be added. Yeah, it was Celine. Celine, you suggested it, right? Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I haven't played it. Metaphor Refantasio, I love the name, haven't played it. Final Fantasy 7 Remake, it's just like 100 hours, I haven't played it. Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, I would like to play, but you guys, I also streamed Elden Ring in front of you guys, so you can understand completely why I will probably never be able to play it. No! 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 No, 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 no. No! 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 There it is. There it is. Shout out to Bacon, Hasha, Kurdish.
No.
Texas Speech, killing it, as usual. Bunny Soldier. What am I wearing? A new outfit. So yeah, the last 2 games to rate for the greatest Game of the Year nominations, and we can sort it and compare to what the Game of the Years have been, are Balatro, which to me is an A, and Astrobot, which to me is like right on the cusp of a B because of that gameplay. That gameplay is not good, but the love and joy that game gives you. Granted, once you beat the game, you get access to speedrunning, and I think then that adds replayability. So for me, I'd put that there. Now let's get to sorting. Chat, I feel like I nailed it now. I think I'm good. Not only does it look good, it feels consistent with my values. Like, I feel like, based off everything I said, everything seems fair. Right? We should have posted on the greatest place on earth. The zenkaigoose official Discord. Our Game of the Year nominations tier list. We did it, gang.